Welcome to Corey's Confessional, where secrets are spilled and dignity's killed.
Hey, what is going on, my guys? My ladies? Hey, my Couriers and my Coriettes? My little riffraffs? My little guys, little girls? My big guys and my big girls? There, Squirt. How you doing? Hey, Slugger. My little riffraff, my scallywag. Dare I say, my little rascals. How y'all doing? You staying wacky out there? Today, I am all alone because I have no friends. Yes. And yes, this is a bathroom behind me, so hopefully we don't hear anything too promiscuous. But sometimes it's the friends you met along the way. That's the story that you wanted the whole time. I'm pretty sure that's the expression. Yeah, you miss half the shots that you don't take twice if you miss it the first time. That's Wayne Gretzky, and he's a pretty wise guy. Yeah. Well, I've been traveling Southeast Asia. One thing that I've noticed, as you probably can guess, is that when I get closer to Thailand, I do match with more and more. You're right, ladyboys. Yeah, and ladyboys is a funny expression, isn't it? Is it not a little outdated? Are they not just like transgender people? Because I guess they're like the originals, eh? They were doing it before it was cool. But I feel like, Asians look young enough as it is. So the term lady boy, for me, I'm like, can I not have a lady man? You know? Or maybe that's too masculine for the sensitive men who are trying to experiment. I don't know. Like, I was on Tinder the other day and I saw someone said, I'm a she-male, by the way. She-male? I haven't heard that expression since 7th grade. I love it. She-male. Yeah, the girls always coming first because they're like, she-male, lady boy. Like, we want to make sure, hey, this is pretty much a girl. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry, it's not gay. Like, I do feel like there should be two different spectrums, Like, how, like, the gay spectrum, it's always moving. You're on a different part of the percentage, right? All of a sudden, you have a little flashback to Uncle Carl touching your bum, and then, it's like, I shouldn't say an actual uncle's name. My uncle did not do that. That's crazy. Nah, we'll leave it in. No, I don't do editing. And maybe your percentage goes up, is what I mean, or it goes down, whatever. But I feel like there should be a different spectrum for she boys. Like, lady boys don't, because if I'm not making any contact, visually or physically, with the ween, it's kind of straight. You know what I'm saying? What's the difference? And plus, it's kind of a dude, so, like, it's gonna be more chill. I don't mean that in, like, girls are hard to deal with. I just mean more that guys are really simple, really stupid. We're not complicated, you know what I mean? Dudes, what do you gotta do? Make them come. And a sandwich. There's not a whole lot going on. Eating a post-cum sandwich, guys. I'm pretty sure that's love, The biggest love I've ever felt is for a nice little thick salami and cheese sandwich after I sploosh my goosh. Oh, so nice. Because I feel like if I'm, you know, in the old secret back door with my little friend or medium-sized friend, okay, lady men, but the wiener's not as big as mine, which on average is more likely. And even if I go and give it a little caress, but I'm not looking at it, I feel like it's completely straight up until that point. If I don't see any nuts, they're tucked up with duct tape or something. It's almost just like a big bean, isn't it? You know? You guys ever see big beans? Big beans kind of crazy. It does feel like sucking a small wiener, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that gets wild. I've seen an African big bean one time, and it's just a different thing, I think. Like it's a literal thumb. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. Man, there's this little Asian kid very across from me. It's like 11 p.m. right now, and he's just studying hard, getting yelled at. This is crazy. Yeah, my first day in Vietnam was a couple days ago, and nuts. My passport is completely destroyed. I should have brought it on cam. It's full of black molds. Every airport gives me a hard time. I'm probably not gonna be let into any more countries. I might stay in Vietnam forever. I'm on these planes for like 10 hours. I finally get to Vietnam, and I go into the bus, and this guy is chasing the bus because he has beef with the bus driver, and he's like banging on the windows, like "Let me in, let me in!" And I'm just like, the only thing I want to be let into is those lady boys. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I've never punched anybody other than my brother at Canada's Wonderland one time on our 2-week vacation that my poor parents spent so much time probably saving for. We don't come from money, and Cody, my beautiful brother, he was just like, just annoying me. He was brothers, and I turned around and I punched him in the face. To be fair, it's because I gave all our personal information to a guy on the street that maybe could have scammed us. So he was totally right. And he cried, I was crying, my family was crying, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to the water park. Yeah, this is shortly before I left church, so it was all, I think it was all related. Yeah, I was an angry dude, man. I used to play Call of Duty and like just punch the wall so hard. And I remember one time, like the classic Chad. And I'm 14. I'm just like playing COD. I'm raging, and my mother's the sweetest lady of all time, and she's right downstairs. Like my room's right above it, and I guess I forgot she was there, and I was letting it loose. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, fucking toxic, and then I just go, Mom. She's like, mm-hmm. Oh man, I didn't have the communication skills to apologize. I was just like, sorry. Yeah, one thing I still rage on though is chess. I'll play chess on my phone and I lose my freaking mind. I actually lose my mind. I think about chess is that you can play a long game, right? And it's not the quick ones that get you. The quick ones you're like, I'll play another one, who cares? But the long games of chess, when you're focused in and you're just like, oh my god, I just thought for 2 minutes about all these different decision trees and stuff, and oh yeah, definitely this is the move, and then you blunder your rook. It just makes me want to explode. Oh. But speaking of explode, my chess name is Hamza Gay 69. So if ever I become like an international master or something, that'll be my name, which is pretty awesome. It's from my friend Hamza, who was the one that got me to download chess.com. And, and years ago, and he would play quite a bit. It was like reading these chess books, and like even before any of us got into it, because I have a few friends into it now. And then so I made like kind of a meme name, like Hamza Gay 69. And then I got really into chess and started studying chess like a little bit every day and like getting really into it. But it's funny because me and him, I think, have only played one game. We played, he thought for 3 minutes, blundered his queen, and then rage quit. And I don't think he's ever played again. What an idiot. But I had this one guy, because this is how horny guys are, right? This is the difference between guys and girls. Like, guys will go on Grindr. Like, I had this gay friend, and I remember us at New Year's Eve. We were walking in the rain and we were trying to find a place to stay, and my friend wasn't answering. And so he just goes on Grinder within 5 minutes. He's just like, dick pic, boom, got a place to stay. You want to go there? You can listen to me fuck while you can sleep on the couch. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. You know? And, it's just so easy. The accessibility is crazy. But it's because dudes are just that like physically turned on. Like porn's made for guys, right? Everything's very visual. We see bum, we're like, bum, nice, come, okay, sandwich, go to bed, whatever. Girls, they want the story. They want to see like, did you guys know Bigfoot erotica? There's a lady who became rich off of Bigfoot erotica. A lady or a man, I don't know. In the 80s, wrote a bunch of books. Became a millionaire selling this because women just wanted to be smashed by a hairy beast. Often it was very, non-consensual. This is something they were into. I feel like I've gotten really off track here. What was I talking about? Nah. Oh yeah. So this guy sees my name on chess.com. He's like, "Oh man, where are you at in Canada? I'm gay too." Because my name is Hamza Gay 69. So what I wanted to start doing, it doesn't look like it happens often, is that put my friend Hamza's Instagram and be like, yeah, man, hit me up. And just him having a bunch of gay guys hitting on him from chess.com. It would be a sick prank. Yeah, guys in hostels, I have a little note here. But guys in hostels with no respect at 12:30 p.m., right? A.m. rather. I'm trying to sleep. Quiet hours at like 10. Like you're supposed to just, just like common sense wise, right? Like, you try to be quiet if someone's sleeping. Even during the day, a lot of people are whispering and shit. I just say to this guy, I'm like, hey man, like, can you turn your phone off? It's literally only me and you in this dorm. And this is why he's doing it, right? Because like he doesn't feel intimidated by, like, if there was a bunch of girls there or something, he would be more respectful, surely. And that I think drives me nuts. Because most people are obviously cool. I love most people. But this guy, I said, hey man, do you mind putting on headphones? He's like, I don't like them. Buddy, what are you talking about? You don't like them. Let me go to sleep. Stop playing your, mentally ill crackheads yelling on Instagram and giggling. Like, I just don't understand some people, man. And there was this other guy, he complained to me. He was a Moroccan gangster. And I came home drunk one night, and I was taking off my pants, and my butt hit the ladder, and it went like, poof. And he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he gets up, and he walks out of the room. I pretty near shit myself. That was terrifying. But this is the same man. Like, I would have not even tried to logic his way out of it, my way out of it, because this is the same man who was talking to me about how the air conditioning is too loud, and he can't go to sleep. But yet blasted videos on his phone until 2 a.m. Like, this is what I get for paying $3 a night at these places, That same place, immediately when I walk into the hostel, there's a rat that runs in with me. And I watched this rat fight this cat, or maybe the cat just play with the rat for an hour before I got to speak with somebody about my reservation being messed up. Another old Russian guy was yelling about his reservation. They're trying to charge him more, and he's going to call the cops. And it was a whole commotion, and people are yelling and hitting stuff. And yeah, these are the hostels that I'm staying in. Yeah. Like if there's a toilet seat and toilet paper and soap, like, oh my god, what is this? A 5-star hotel? Like this, it's crazy. Oh. But now I'm in Hanoi, Vietnam. It's cheaper over here. The Malaysians, I think in comparison to Indonesians, they're almost like what Chinese people are to Malaysians, is what Malaysians are to Indonesians. Because Indonesians have nothing, yet they're super happy and they're just pumped to see you, right? And they don't want for more. They're grinding, they're doing their thing. But Malaysians have a lot more, their GDP is a lot better, and they seem more unhappy. And I think Chinese to them have like no work life balance. You know, because Chinese people are constantly like as people know, like they just work, 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 work. I was talking to a Chinese guy the other day, and he was saying that if you only work 8 hours a day, you're viewed as a fat, lazy slob, a non-productive member of society. 8 hours a day, man. I used to have a job that I worked 7 hours a day, but did I even? No, 2 hours max. And I was like, oh, that's a good day's work. I did some stuff. I punched some keys. These guys are nuts. Yeah, not really any jokes there, but just kind of my observations. Yeah, and like I did these oil paintings called batik, and I did them in Indonesia. And Indonesians are really upset that the Malaysians keep trying to claim this of their own. Because maybe they just don't. I don't know. Have a whole lot going on. They say their food is supposed to be the thing they're known for, but I was underwhelmed, man. I think I had cheeseburgers like every day after a while, because I was just like, meh. This seafood thing that you guys are known for is just not that much better than the seafood in New Brunswick, Canada. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an uncultured swine. Maybe I don't know shit about shit. All right, and maybe it's true. I don't know anything. Um, yeah. Well, my passport's so damaged because 2 years ago, when I was walking the Te Aurora Country Long Trail, 3,000 kilometer trail that I did in New Zealand, um, did it for ages. I was off and on the trail for over a year. Never finished it. People are either northbound or southbound, so they're called Nobo or Sobo. My trail name was Slobo because the first bit that took people 3 weeks to do took me 3 months. Yeah, and I did it in the off season. Never Googled anything about hiking or the trail. I had 30 some kilograms of stuff in my bag, and then slowly just offloaded it. And one day I was crossing in a river, doing a river crossing in the wrong spot because I went the wrong way every day, or I'd see a praying mantis on my phone and I just walked the wrong way every day because I'd just be like vibing with the guy. And my bag was like being held over my head, and shaking. The boots are hitting me in the face. I'm in my underwear. It's getting like really dark. Um, and my passport was in one of the pockets and got completely destroyed. And in that moment, though, there was Australians coming on the other side, like where you're supposed to be crossing, and I had not seen any hikers in I don't think 3 weeks. And right when I needed them, they were there. I'm not a spiritual guy, but yeah, it always seemed to work out. But I've been, and again, I come out from that, and I come over this little hill into uh, a little holiday park with a bunch of old people in their camper vans, and I'm just like in my underwear, like, oh yeah, because I just been through some shit, And I'm just like, oh, what the heck? Who is this homeless man with wet underwear? Go back into the water, you freak! Yeah, good times. Yeah, I've been in a trail that was closed for 3 years because it was 7 kilometers less. Decided to go there anyways. I think it was because there was wild dogs, um, that were like spotted there or something. Because they did actually like attack people last year. That was crazy. But I went into this trail anyways. 8 hour hike, surviving off of 2 spoons of peanut butter, no personal locator beacon. My phone died and my power bank died. I go the wrong way all the time. Anyways, all the signs are down because they had these big floodings, and everything had just been like destroyed. And I was going up and down these steep inclines and declines, getting caught up in vines. If I would have broke my ankle, I'd be dead. Yeah, yeah. I'm a pretty silly goober sometimes, I think. But when I get on this trail, my face is cut up. I um, had such a difficult day and didn't panic, but didn't know what was going to happen. And there's a guy, one house at the end of this trail, and it's a guy with I just asked for some water. It's the only thing I ever asked for is directions and water. And he offers me some bread and to drive me 2 kilometers to the free camp spot. And at that point, I wasn't taking any rides, but I was like, yes, absolutely, I'll take this. And yeah, I made it all right. And then there was some old guy He didn't say any words to me. Saw me like struggling to put up my tent, trying to put down this bread with like really dry throat. He was just like had a joint in his hand. He was like, hmm? I was like, hmm? Now he gives me a little bit of a joint. He offers me a couple of drinks and some food. Now I'm vibing, I'm dancing, I'm putting up my tent. It was a great day. I miss New Zealand, man. New Zealand was amazing. Yeah, I'm from a village of 100 people, right? And like you see people on the street, riding a tractor. You're like, oh, how's she going there, buddy? He's like, oh, pretty good. How you doing? You're like, right on. You want that tractor? You just be like, hey, buddy, listen, you mind if I can borrow that tractor tomorrow? He'd be like, oh, fuck, tomorrow? Don't worry about it here. It's fine. Take the keys. I'll walk home. You know, it's no bother. We're in such a competition to see who's the nicest back home, eh? My dad has so many funny expressions. He's like, he'll wait for like minutes, holding the door open for people. He's just like, no, age before beauty, shit like that. They're like, no, please, like, go ahead. He's like, no, whatever. Insert dad joke. Yeah, my dad was just diagnosed with some rare form of amnesia. It only lasts 24 hours. He's basically 100% back to normal now. But we all got a scare. We didn't know what was going on. But even in that state, he couldn't form new memories for a whole day. He's in the hospital, and he just kept messing with the doctors, so they couldn't get accurate representation of his mental well-being. So my brother was there, and they're like, oh, like Randy, my dad's name. He's like, what do you? How many sons do you have? He's like, just this one. They're like, what about the one traveling? And he's like, just losing his mind. he would he kept making he would be talking to me on FaceTime. And he's like, Corey, where's my hair? And my brother is like, well, Dad, you haven't had your hair in years. He's like, you're like, I knew Corey would like that one. And then 2 minutes later, he'd be like, Corey, where's my hair? Just taking the same jokes over and over because he can't remember. Oh, the best. What a legend. Yeah. My dad is like the least broy guy ever. And so am I, to be fair. But yeah, we both lift and kind of like, I think, gym humor a little bit, right? Yeah, I love like walking through a garage door sideways, just being like, oh. The only time I can really make my dad laugh, it seems, just walking sideways, like, oh man, oh, I hate it. You know how skinny these things are? He's like, you know, just a gym bro from the 80s, eh? Yeah, always does his 3 sets of 8, his wide stance with his curls. But yet he's 56 or something, and he still outlifts me. So that's pretty crazy. Oh. Yeah, on that trail, like I had so many homeless moments. I remember I slept in this church by myself for 7 nights in this small town called Wacky because I met a lady and like was falling in love with her in like 4 days. That's me. And she turned out to be a prostitute. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know she was off to Australia to go diddle other wieners when I met her. Yeah, and I was just like really heartbroken because she didn't like me anymore because we did it in the secret backdoor passage, the lady boy tunnel, if you will. And I didn't give her any aftercare. And I didn't really know anything about that, I guess. Like, I sploosh magoosh in the touche and immediately was just like, all right, well, time to go meditate and write in my diary. See you later. Yeah, she didn't like that very much. You know, it is crazy when you don't know someone is a prostitute. Like, I don't care how many people that you've had sex with, but it's an interesting thing to think about. Being so disconnected from it, but then yet meeting someone in life like we did, and just like having sex, but then telling me afterwards. I feel like I guess it doesn't matter, But eh, I would have liked to have known. Um, yeah. Now, doing stand up in all these countries has been interesting. Like in Canada, we're so much like penis, blah, and everyone's just like, blah, everyone's excited. We want to love you. We're ready. We're high energy. We're crazy. And then in New Zealand, people were like, yes, indubitably. Oh, that is quite humorous. This is very British imprinted. And then I came to Indonesia. I did some in Bali and in Jakarta, the capital. And once we were right back to penis. Blah! I was like, I had sex with a prostitute. Everyone's like, blah! I was like, by accident. They're like, people lose their minds. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know how much better it's making me, but it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun to have easier crowds, I think, again. I'm curious, how Ireland's going to be. And I'll be in Hanoi, Vietnam for a few weeks. There's some English stand up here, so I'm curious how they'll be too. I feel like it's going to be kind of similar to Indonesia. Because this is also another country who doesn't have much, but yet seems to be super happy and genuine and like pumped when I speak the language. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I like how Chinese people, like, there's a lot of Chinese people in these countries too, obviously. And I love how, even though, even when they're speaking, the thing about Chinese people is that even when they're speaking normally, they sound angry, you know? And I can't understand what they're saying, but I'm just imagining, like, them talking about something so mundane, like, you don't want to do the dishes? Oh, well, that's okay. I'll do it. But they're actually just like, I'll do it. No worries. um, yeah, I don't know if that was an accent or not, but yeah, it's quite funny. Yeah, I love the Chinese people just sound angry all the time. Yeah, like I heard somebody asking for the reservation the other day, and she was like, chong chong chong, chong 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 chong, chong," and she was just like really upset. But then I think it was just her being normal and just asking what the price is or something. It was great. uh, yeah, I'm from a very privileged country, though. I realized that once the more I travel. Like, I talked to this lady from Maldives, and, like, she's an exile from her country. She hasn't been there in years. Because she spoke out against Allah. Hey, and listen, I'm an Allah fan. All right, Allah is sweet as. I loved all the little, all the Mosul yellings and stuff. It's sick. I'm into it. But they take them, and if you're gay as well, in recent times they have a lot of gays in there, where they'll bring them into prison and torture them, and then until they like convert back to Islam. I'm thinking to myself, like, this is just old men using religion and a good, lots of cool stuff in the Quran. Um, they're just using this religion as a tool to be dictators. It's crazy. And then I was talking to this African lady where she was saying how it's just so normal for every single relationship, every guy to beat on their woman. I was like, well, I mean, if it's normal to get beat off, that's sick, but beaten on, not very cool, you know? And then we got like the extremes the other way in our country. It was like, I feel like it's evening out now, but when I was in university, it was like right at the beginning of like PC culture and stuff in like 2013, 14. And I remember there was a transgender and I didn't really know anything about it. And I don't think I even made a joke. I think I just asked, like, so this person have a penis or something? Like, just kind of like inquisiting about it. I was in organizational behavior class, and then this lady is in my group, like, without even talking to me about it like an adult, went to my professor and said that I was inherently homophobic and that she did not want to be in my group anymore. And then the professor talked to me about it, and I said, oh, I obviously didn't mean anything by it. I go and address it as an 18-year-old, having more just like some communication skills and just being like, hey, like, I didn't mean anything by that. And immediately she shuts down. And she's like, oh my God, no, it's fine. Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah, fine. Like, are these people just pussies? You know? It's insane. I think like the offended thing is always interesting to me because I've been offended twice in 6 years. I know exactly what they are because it was very specific, you know? But it's that whole like Jesus getting beat on the cross thing, eh? Like, uh, forgive them for they don't know what they're doing. I think most people are just going through so much shit in their brains that they don't really want to hurt others. And a lot of people think that they're the hero of their own story, you know? Like H Dog from Germany was a little rascal, all right? But I think he thought he was doing the right thing. I mean, he had to, right? Yeah. People are very sexually suppressed in these countries. I'll tell you that much. Oh my god. People don't talk about anything. I was on a first date the other day with this Indonesian lady. I don't know, within like 20 minutes, I was just like, okay, like, so do you not use a vibrator to masturbate? And she's like, masturbate? I've never tried. You've never tried to masturbate? Anytime I pee, my hand's on my wiener, I'm like, might as well. You know, might as well just see what's going on. Ever since guys are teenagers, we just have our hands in our on our pouch. But girls, it is more common because I think it's like, oh, like slut shaming or something. But to never masturbate, it's because it's so taboo in these countries to talk about sex or to do anything. My only experiences in that is that the girls just have never been pleased and don't really know how to please either because nobody's talking about what they like. It's wild. I was hit on by this lady. She's a doctor. I met this lady at a bar. She's a doctor. And making out in Indonesia in public, not cool. Illegal. Me and this lady were macking for 30 minutes in front of all the old folks. And we got real promiscuous. Apparently, she's never been with anybody other than her husband of 10 years. And they had been divorced 1 year ago. But we were making out in her car in the front of the bar, and police came to our door. Like, they're like, get out, you can't be, blah, blah, blah. Fair enough. We're in the front of a bar. It's pretty slutty. But then the guy, when she left, they were telling me that I harassed a married lady that they're going to call the husband. I said, mate, go ahead. What are you talking about? Yeah, he just wanted to scare me, I think. I had 1% on my phone. I was like, we're getting out of here. I went to McDonald's, got a cheeseburger, and went home. It's fine. But when I talked to her in person afterwards, she was another lady who's like never experienced any kind of pleasure from like people going down on her or like never came this way or that way. It's literally just people in their heads. It's really quite sad because I think like they're missing out on so much pleasure in life. Now, what else do I got here? Oh yeah, this is what I've been like seeing so many different religions here. Going to mosques and temples, and I went to this big Buddhist temple. Right, it's the biggest temple, the biggest Buddhist temple in the whole world, with the most statues and the biggest this and the biggest that. And I was thinking to myself, aren't Buddhists supposed to be minimalist? Did they miss the irony? You know? Isn't it a prince that like sold all of his possessions to go meditate under a tree or whatever, and then realized that all possessions are attached to suffering and he doesn't want to suffer, but yet they're like, let us make the biggest one. That'll show those dumb Muslims or whatever. But it's funny because like, I don't know, it was 1,000 years ago or something, they all left because earthquake maybe or a volcano eruption. and then all the Muslims came in. And so now it's Muslims doing the tour for the Buddhist temple. I'm like, oh, how authentic. You know. But this is why I don't think that there's a God. Because if there were one, like, this is why I don't believe in intelligent design. Because my breathing hole is the same as my drinking hole. Buddy, if you can choke on your life source, that's not very intelligent. What are we doing? So maybe we just have, like, a design. Maybe it's just not all that intelligent. Yeah. In Indonesia, it was funny. They have these things called parking attendants. And I guess it's the only country that, like, deals with this, where these guys, no one knows, like, who hires them, if anybody, or if it's organized or not. It's like this weird kind of thing. And it's talked about apparently, like, in their recent government, where these guys will whistle, like, when you're coming into, like, let's say you're going to a convenience store and you're on your scooter, and they'll whistle, like, at the street to, like, get traffic, to make sure that you can come in safely, even if there's no cars. So they're just, like, whistling at the street, like, beep, 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 beep. And you're just like, okay, I'm just going to the store. And then when they come out, they'll sit on your scooter when you're in there to keep it safe. And then they'll ask for 20,000 rupiah when you come out, so that, because, they kept you safe. It's crazy. you know? Like, can you imagine the most scammy job of all time? But they gotta hustle, to be fair. Like, I had a little kid selling me stuff at 6 a.m. when I was partying, and he was rubbing his belly and going and trying to sell me bracelets. Like, what are you supposed to do? I just gave him a high five, said right on, and walked away. I'm not gonna change anything. Yeah, it's sad though. Like, I used to complain when I was a kid, selling chocolate bars door to door, because that's all how we could afford going to a hotel for my chess tournaments. These kids are selling their souls. It's wild. Yeah, Indonesians is funny too. Like, they had these you can report your neighbors for having sex outside of marriage. Can you imagine the sexless woman that are just so frustrated making that call? She's got to not had a plowing in years to care about that, right? She's like, how dare them be so disrespectful? As she's just flicking her bean at the same time, talking to the cops. She's got to be getting off on it. I mean, it's so insane to care about. I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, in Canada we're so privileged. Like, we have gays making out in the street. Like, we don't give a shit. And of course, people are. There's always going to be people that have issues with stuff. But in general, like, I think I've just didn't realize how much I hit the lottery. Being born where I was. Yeah, I got really excited the other day because I made another black friend. It just always makes me, like, makes me think of when I was a kid. I always thought, man, one day I'll be cool enough to have a black friend. That'll be sick. And yeah, I've got two now, kinda, really one. Pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to have a black friend. Yeah, one of them gave me the N-word pass, but I felt like it was funnier not to use it. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, "Hey, my friend, get pranked, idiot." Yeah, sometimes I go to my German friend and I'm just like, "Oh, hey man, what are you doing?" Just turn it into a stretch. Oh man, sweet pranks, sweet pranks. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I like a lot of people I meet traveling. I think are so in their heads. Like when I to not be stupid too. They're just people in life, I guess. Like people are so concerned with not being stupid in front of other people. Being embarrassed of putting pressure on themselves to have to know something or have to do this or have to do that. I feel like I just don't relate. I didn't know I couldn't point to New Brunswick on a map until last year, and that's where I've been my whole life. you know, I'm a stupid guy. If you don't know where you live on the map, you're an idiot. I don't know anything. That's what my favorite philosophy quote is. All I know is I know nothing. Yeah. Which is particularly relevant when I talk about most things. Yeah. People are constantly putting pressure on themselves. I think like all this mental health stuff that people seem to struggle with, I think 80% of it is just people putting pressure on themselves and not being as nice to themselves as they are with others. Not to get too psychological, but I think when people don't have small habits in their life that then make them feel better every day and be more productive and taking care of their mind and body, it's so hard for them to even get started because they're just like, New Year's resolution, I'm going to do 1,000 things in this day. Like, I used to read David Goggins' book. I read it 2.5 times, his first book. And I um, used to highlight stuff and go crazy to the point where I scheduled everything weeks ahead. And I would get up at every morning at 6 a.m. and run in the snow, like, get hard, until I got hard. You know what I mean? And I would yell at myself and come home and I'd superset weights and I would study poker for 30 minutes and I would make the sandwich. And by 8 a.m., I'd done so much shit. And I felt so great, but I didn't have like a balanced life. I remember telling my best friend, he asked me to hang out next Saturday. And I was like, oh, sorry, man. I'm studying poker for 14 hours that day. And I was. But that's crazy. And it didn't pay off in that sense. Like, it wasn't, what I was getting wasn't what I was putting out. Like everything in moderation. If you're working out 5 hours a day, then that's no good. That's not gonna be good for you. But if you're, only working out, a tiny, do 20 push-ups a day. If you don't work out at all, that's amazing. Just start with that. I don't know why this got to like some fucking gay self-help speech, but here we are. Uh, yeah, I like the Grab drivers here. Like they're like little scooters that you can get on to like go places, right? And when I first got on a Grab, I just grabbed him. you know, I was just scared. The traffic here is crazy. We got tractors going at 2 miles an hour in Canada, where like where I'm from, these guys are just zooming between cars. I got a big hiking bag on me. I just grabbed him. At first, I was grabbing him like a middle school dance, you know, where you barely touch their waist and you don't try not to look at them in the eyes. And then I very quickly went to ninth grade dance where you're Frenching real hard, and that's what I was going for with this guy. Wiener to butt, just trying not to be too solid around him. Uh, yeah, grab drives get pretty intimate for me. Yeah, it gets pretty weird. Yeah, they probably don't like it at all, but I enjoy it. Yeah, I think I just don't have that much intimacy. If I can get it with a grab driver, then so be it. I'm paying him, so there you go. Yeah, I went on a walk in the jungle the other day. There was these leeches that apparently can climb up your leg and crawl into your wiener. And I was sick. And I only did it because, I'm with this my friend and she was just very, very attractive. And like she was talking about how she was gonna go home and use her vibrator and things like that. And I was just like, all right, have fun. I think about it later, I'm like, do you think she was flirting with me? Hmm. I never know. I just love people too much. I just don't want to be, I don't know, thinking like that all the time, I guess. Yeah. This whole leech thing made me think, like, what's it like to be in the mind of a bug? I wonder. Like, if I'm a leech and I'm crawling up someone's leg to then insert into their ween, I'm probably not thinking about it too much. It's just blood, you know? It's like very primal, like a vampire. I think if I could be any bug for real, I think I would be. Let's put a pin in it. I'm not really sure. I feel like a slow bug though. I don't want to be a fast bug, man. But then I guess predators, eh? Maybe a spiky bug. I'd be an ant. Oh man, if I could be one bug, I would be an ant, dude. And ants can't die. If there's one thing I learned from Will the Wise, is that ants can't die. And you can lift like 10,000 times your weight or whatever. That's unreal. You're literally a superhero. But I guess every ant is just a superhero. That would be sick. An ant that can fly. Because an ant man, they have those ants that can fly. So you could literally be a super strength bug who can't die. And you can fly. So a flying ant is literally just Superman. I would pay a lot of money to be a flying ant. That would be awesome. Yeah, I like how guys are always talking about like animals fighting. You know, what animal could beat this animal? I bet that one shark, if it had legs, could probably beat up a bear. Yeah, he'll just eat him with his teeth. You know, and he'll just run up to him. But of all animals, like surely the one that will survive over anybody's got to be a gorilla, right? There's a reason why King Kong's a gorilla. You know, he's literally battling a dragon. Like these guys sleep on the ground. On the ground, man. In the jungle. Where everything kills you. If you're sleeping on the ground in the jungle, your nuts must just be bigger than my whole body. I feel like if girls had to smash one animal, it'd be a gorilla. You know? These things are massive. I feel like when girls are going to a bar and they're just like, I just want to get so fucked up tonight. I'm gonna get smashed, and they just want to get plowed by some dumb dude. They're thinking gorilla instincts. You know, our DNA is so close. Yeah, they just want just want a gorilla man, just a hairy beast, just a you know, just getting in there. Yeah. I miss milking cows, man. Milking cows was sick. Like hard work, but they're so stupid. You know, people who think cows are smart can go screw themselves because cows are not smart. Like the little calves that I was trying to bottle feed, um, as soon as you take away the bottle, they just keep going. I was thinking these guys will suck anything. Yeah, they just want some white stuff to come out. All right, that's enough. That's enough of the bestiality. This is getting unhinged. Your unhinged podcast. Oh, I can't believe I went through all my little notes. Yeah, these poor Asian people, man. They're just working so hard. I feel like I've never worked hard when someone told me to. I've only worked hard off my own like will. You know, I found something I liked, I started working at it. Anytime people when I was a kid like told me to do something, I was like, eh, I guess I'll do a little bit of it, you know? But then, like soccer, when I was a kid, I would love drilling that. My dad would throw the soccer ball in the back. I'd be doing drills and stuff and running by myself. I was so into it. I remember when I would be practicing soccer when I was a kid, I would listen to High School Musicals. Got to get your head in the game. And this is at the stage where I wanted a pink ruler. I was a cheerleader I demanded to wear the skirt when I was in fourth grade. So my dad was stressed. He did not like this. And I'm in the back singing maybe like, is it the gayest song of all time? Potentially. The way I was doing it, just kicking my soccer ball around, having headphones in, like, gotta get your hand in the game, gotta get your hand in the game. And I stopped with the soccer ball, and I'd be like, oh, why am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song. I think back like, man, that's crazy. You know? It is nuts, like, how much I was in High School Musical. But I've uh, karaoke in High School Musical the other day. Yeah, Breaking Free is a jam, dude. It's the best. I think if I could sing, I would be really into like being in musicals. Yeah, musicals are awesome. I've only ever seen one. It was my friend Zave. He did one in university for Beauty and the Beast. It was so sick. Yeah, I went to see it with my cousin and my aunt, and yeah, I just really really enjoyed that. Like, I think being able to sing, though, as far as all instruments, your voice is one that, yeah, you can get it better, but you don't gotta practice as much as like an instrument usually. You know, I think it's like the lazy one that people like the most, which is weird. I think it might be the exception to the rule where like everything that is worth it takes time and effort. Like, maybe that's just not true with singing, right? It's kind of like if I could press a button and just come immediately, it wouldn't really be worth it. I wanna yank on them for a minute. I don't know, maybe use my imagination or something. I wanna get a little promiscuous with myself first. I wanna have some foreplay. I wanna play and put a candle on. I wanna use some lube. I don't wanna just magically sploosh. I feel like in the Matrix, that's what's gonna be. It's just gonna be, you just get to choose. You just get addicted to all these like stimuli. Can't be good for us. Oh. Yeah. Well, this has been interesting, doing this by myself with no friends, no one to love, but that's okay because sometimes I love myself a little too much. And when I'm saying that, I'm referring to, yes, what we were just talking about, diddling the bird. It always comes back to that, doesn't it? Well, Christina Pazinski does say in your first year or two of comedy to just make penis jokes. I'm so glad that I'm actually getting away from that, you know, in stand up, and yeah, there's still some in there, but it's actually talking about my life is difficult. Like the real things, the things like losing control of anger, throwing my phone on the ground, and busting my camera because I was angry at chess. But then the gay guy hits on me, and I get pumped up again. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Life's pretty good. I could chill. Yeah, I never know when somebody's flirting. I just assume that everybody loves people as much as me, and that they would never lie to me, and they're just happy to have a conversation. Until a lady is literally right here, I have no idea what's going on. You know? But with guys, I always know when they're hitting on me. Because guys are very direct, and they're used to making the effort, you know? When a guy hits on you, because they say, hey, you're really hot, you want to fuck? It's very, very clear, it's super easy. Yeah, I've never really went to a gay, like, I've went to a gay bar before, but never, like, just to get hit on. But I imagine if I was a sleazy dude who just wanted free drinks, just take a playbook out of the ladies. Oh my god, man. You could definitely go get just trashed, eh? If you're just like very flirty with everybody. And you're like, I don't have enough money to drink, but I'm glad that I'm meeting you. You seem like a very nice guy, and then you just get trashed and then leave. It would be sleazy. Well, this has been fun. Guys, if any of you have made it this far, feel free to send me an email and ask me a question. If I do a solo podcast again, I'd love to answer it. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm at 15. Because if I get to 1,000, I can maybe get $50 a month and pay for food, which would be sick. And I'll just keep doing this thing. I love you guys, and thanks for hanging out. All right. Bye bye.